Hello and welcome to everyone. Today our guest is Arzeno. Alan, thank you for accepting the interview. Can you please say a few words about yourself to get to know our fans?
Sure. My name is Arzeno. I live in Miami, Florida, and I train out of Miami, Florida. I recently fought bare knuckle boxing. I'm a former MMA fighter, and I fought also Muay Thai fights. Actually, it's kind of strange because we did it was like Muay Thai fights with MMA gloves. But that was I did a couple of shows like that, and I've had a pretty long career for about 10 years.
When did you start training MMA? You say you're a former MMA. When did you start martial arts?
I've done martial arts pretty much all my life. Since I was a little kid, I always did either judo, karate, some form of martial arts, depending on where I lived. I moved around a lot. So, I lived in Spain, so I did martial arts over there. Then I moved back to the Dominican Republic, and I did martial arts over there. So every time I moved, I started I started mixed martial arts training in 2006. This is I was 26 at the time, and that was when I started mixed martial arts. But I had done martial arts since I was a little kid. I've always done some form of martial arts since I was a little kid.
Can you please elaborate the difference between Spain, Dominican Republic, USA when it comes to martial arts?
Yeah, Republic was very traditional. It was very separate. It was all either judo, karate, taekwondo. It was all separate. As opposed to in Spain, they had kickboxing, which was completely different for me. National kickboxing in Spain. Then in the United States, they had all sorts of martial arts. You know what I mean? And then they had the mixed martial arts, right? And I went straight to mixed martial arts. I didn't want to do traditional when I started again. I went straight to mixed.
Okay, no problem. So, how is your fighting style these days? Are you offensive, defensive?
Um, it, I'm a brawler at heart. Like if I get hit, I'm gonna go and hit back. So but I train to be a technician. Right, my fighting style, I will like to say that I'm a technician, but I'm a brawler at heart. As soon as I get hit, I go in and brawl. But I try to be a technician as much as I can.
Really awesome, really awesome. Who are your coaches and sparring partners?
My coach, his name is Manuel Lopez. We call him Manolo. He's you probably seen him in the corner with Yoel Romero. He used to be in the corner with Yoel Romero before. He works the corner for Alex Cáceres. You've seen him a couple of times in big shows, but he's an old Cuban guy. He's very technical, very loose, very elusive, to me, he's like a genius in striking. That's our main coach. And I also have Raul Llopis, who's a 6-time world champion in Muay Thai, and he's my Muay Thai coach. Like straight striking also, that's my specialty, striking.
What can you say about your first professional MMA fight?
Man, I got put to sleep. My first professional fight, I got put to sleep. My first fight was against Wagner Rocha, and man, he introduced me to jiu-jitsu. That's pretty much my introduction to jiu-jitsu. I had done it a couple of times training for the fight, but I had never done it with somebody that was that high level. And he got on my back. He didn't throw one punch. Got on my back, took my back, choked me out, put me to sleep in 48 seconds.
Who was the toughest MMA opponent for you?
My toughest MMA opponent, I want to say, was Nuri Shakir. He's a very how can I say it? He's an underrated fighter because he fought a lot of the good names. A lot of the guys that are in the UFC at the 170 division fought against him, and he lost to a lot of them, but it was always because he took fights late notice. And man, I had a war with him, and I enjoyed it because we actually had fun before the fight, we had fun during the fight, and we had fun after the fight, even though I lost. But I think that was the toughest fight that I had.
Okay. The next question: How did you defeat TJ Sandler?
Oh, how did I? That was a decision. It was a unanimous decision when I fought in New York for the title. Yeah, he wasn't too happy with it, but you know, I took him down. I landed more punches than him. I mean, he actually hit me with an illegal knee, so you know he got a point deducted. I mean, it was a mess, you know. But I ended up with the win, so he can be as mad as he wants. I ended up with the win.
Outstanding. What are your thoughts on CFA as a promotion?
CFA as a promotion, honestly, was the best promotion that South Florida had. They paid well. They had great production value. They had great matchmaking, which is a big thing for me. They didn't give fights to people, and it was just a great show. The only problem they had was that they brought a lot of people from out of town, and they kind of forgot about the locals, you know, and the locals were the ones that sold the tickets.
How did you defeat Rene Martinez?
Liver kick.
That's what I wanted to ask you about that liver kick. How did you put it under? Was he like this or?
Well, I faked a hook. I'm lefty, so I'm a southpaw. So I faked a hook with
I'm also.
my right hand, and he lifted his hands up, and then I went right under. You know, but I didn't throw a traditional roundhouse. I went kind of straight up, like I think they call it the golden kick. If you ask the Thais, they call it the golden kick, which goes straight up, and you just turn your hip at the end and caught him right on the liver. Went down from that, and then ground and pounded it at the end.
Yeah, but when you faked, you just swing like this, and he did this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This.
I faked a little bit, and right away I saw the opening, and I threw the kick. It was something that I had done in the bag. I mean, if I tell you, like I tell people, they don't believe me. But in the bag, when I was warming up, I told my partner, the guy that I was warming up with, I hit him with that kick, and I told him I'm gonna knock him out with that kick. And he laughed, and he's like, I know. And then, I mean, I saw the opening. It was. I mean, it was a big opening.
Was it a upper or lower part of the shin to the liver?
It was the lower part of the shin. Yeah, I was able to extend my leg completely and turn my hips. Actually,
I know what's a golden kick, but I'm Taekwondo black belt. I train kickboxing too, so we have kind of golden kick, but it's kind of different. In Taekwondo, it's not like that. You must roll backwards when you do such kick.
Yeah, kind of fall back. No, yes. But since I was walking forward, I set it up with the hook, but I was able to kind of like switch my hips completely, and I put my hips into it. So I mean, power.
You competed at Muay Thai too. So what can you say about that fight? You said you competed at Muay Thai.
Yes. I don't know. It's fun to throw elbows, man. That's what I like it because you get to throw elbows. But I did those because I couldn't get a. That was after I fought Martinez, and when I fought him, he was undefeated. So after that, I couldn't get fights. I spent a whole year without being able to get a fight. So my other option was do those fights in the meantime, so I wouldn't stay inactive. And then I did 3 of those fights. It was Muay Thai with little gloves, with MMA gloves. It was this thing that they were trying out here in Florida called the MSC. And we did 3 fights. I did three shows, and then I went back to MMA.
What can you say about your Titan fight against Belbit Nazarov?
Man, he beat me. Obviously, he was a better fighter that night. I still think that I can beat him, but that night he was a lot better than me. It was a weird situation because they obviously nobody knows this, but that wasn't my opponent, right? My opponent got switched that day, the weigh-ins, right? So when I got to the weigh-ins, they called me and they said that the guy that I was supposed to fight had a bruise in his back, and that the opponent that I had was Nazarov now, right? So it was 1 or 2. I could decline the fight or I could fight. And I took the fight. So it was a completely different style of what I had trained for. But at the end of the day, he was a better fighter that night. You know, I can't say anything about it. He beat me, not on the stand-up. I felt like I was doing a lot better in the stand-up. But once we hit the ground, I kind of got stuck on the ground.
Why did you decide to transition to Bkfc?
I didn't need a transition, man. Honestly, my training has been MMA training all throughout because I'm helping my girlfriend out for her fights. And to be honest, I haven't done anything different that I do from MMA training. My conditioning is MMA training. My training is MMA training. My sparring is MMA training. I mean, I'm still doing MMA. The only difference is that I take off the gloves and I get to punch people with my bare hands.
No other different things for you.
No different things. The only thing that I changed is the last week I switched my rounds to 2 minutes. The last week. So I'll do sparring rounds, 2-minute rounds, because that's what we do in the. So I want to get used to the 2 minutes in sparring, for the fight. But that's it. That's the only difference that I'll do. I'm telling you, I was retired, and the only reason that I did that fight was because I got offered, and it was good money. They pay really well. So I took the fight. And now it's, do I want to do it again? And we'll see. If they have the right offer, the right amount, yeah, I'll definitely do it again.
What is harder, 5 bare knuckle rounds or 3 MMA rounds?
I didn't get to do much in my bare knuckle, so I don't know how hard it would be to go the 5 2-minute rounds. I know MMA rounds have been hard for me in the past, especially when I didn't train as hard as I'm training now. But honestly, that would be 2 minutes, 2 rounds, 2 MMA rounds. A bare knuckle fight is 2 MMA rounds, if you think about it. So if I'm able to do 2 5-minute rounds at full speed, I can do my bare knuckle fight 100%, especially if I have a minute in between those 2 minutes. So I just do the math on it, and there's no way that they're going to beat me if I'm able to do that amount of pressure that I'm going to be able to put on them.
What made the critical difference in your bare knuckle fight between your opponent and you?
Well, it's weird because he got hurt in the middle of the fight, but I had already hit him. I think the first shot that I hit him with made his knee buckle, and that's when the injury happened. But again, I didn't get to showcase a lot. There's a little exchange at the end where I get to throw a couple of hooks, and you see a lot more of my style of fighting, which was brawling. And obviously I was superior than him in that department, but I didn't get to showcase everything. I wish I would have, but I didn't get to.
Southpaw. What do you think of Southpaw fighting Southpaw? Is it hard for you or?
No. I fought a couple of Southpaws in my MMA career. Fought a couple of Southpaws actually in the Muay Thai fights. And this guy was switching back and forth. So I can switch as well. I can go Southpaw or Orthodox. It doesn't matter to me. Obviously, I prefer Southpaw because I'm a Southpaw, naturally. But I can do both as well.
I'm having a very hard time fighting like this, kind of.
You just got to practice it. The other thing is that I'm a coach, so every time I show something, I have to do it as a right-hander, right? So I don't do it as a southpaw. I got to do it the other way. So I got so used to doing it the other way that I just, it came natural. And also, like I said, I help my girlfriend out. She fights a lot of right-handers, so I got to mimic a right-hander, So I just have to do it.
Problem is when I stand like this, I'm 2 or 3 times faster. I can land strikes, but when I'm like this, I can strike very fast. But like this, I can't.
Work on the footwork. It's all in the footwork. It's not so much on the hands. It's more on the footwork. Just if you get used to moving your footwork on the opposite side, you'll get your hands back behind it. You'll see the difference.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice, actually. I have to work on it. About the future plans, do you plan to stay in bare knuckle or you plan to switch between other martial arts?
No, if bare knuckle offers the right amount, I'm doing bare knuckle. I mean, so far they've reached out, and yeah, I'm down to do another one. I mean, as long as the money keeps coming and the offers keep coming, it's never bad enough. I'm gonna cut. The only danger that you have is getting cut. Obviously, I don't know if you've heard, but we have one that there's an injury out of one of the guys that fought that night, Francesco Ricci. He ended up in the hospital after the fight because he got punched in the trachea.
He was my guest.
Yeah. So he had a complication in the hospital, and he's in the hospital due to the complication in the hospital, not because of what happened to him in the fight. But it is dangerous. But at the end of the day, I'm not worried about that. That's a freak accident. So I'm not bare knuckle is what I'm gonna stay. I'm not doing MMA anymore. I don't need to show anything in MMA. I'm 41. Like also, I'm 41 years old, so I'm a little old for MMA, but not for bare knuckle. I feel he's in the hospital, man. We're praying for him. We're hoping that he's okay, but he's in the hospital.
No news. I've read that few days ago, and I've heard that he ate a shot. Do you hear me?
Yeah, something he got hit in the trachea, and then he created a blood clot, and they were draining. Yeah, they were draining the blood, and there was a complication due to the surgery that they were doing. So he's in the hospital right now. We don't get to, he's my teammate, but we haven't been able to talk to the hospital or anybody because he didn't put anybody down in his contact info in the hospital.
I hope everything goes well for him. Would you like to greet someone? Is there something that we missed to say in this interview?
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to shed light on my team on Freedom Fighters MMA. We're a small team from Miami, Florida. We have coach and the best mixed martial arts coach in South Florida, period. And people don't know about us, man. We've had people in one championship. We've had people in Bellator. We had people in the UFC. I mean, he's one of Yoel Romero's former coaches before he left. But we have great fighters in that gym, and people don't know about us. So yeah, I just wanted everybody to go find out who, and you'll see who the real fighters are.
I will start making video now. Hopefully it will be online tomorrow. Okay. Have a great day and thank you for the interview.